Believe in Bigfoot? Dogman? Any cryptid? Are you skeptical?
Curious about the supernatural, conspiracy theories, the unknown? Then come join us as we explore facts, tall tales, and encounters on Creatures and Curiosities.
Hello and welcome to Creatures and Curiosities. I'm David.
And I'm Jake.
And in this week's episode, we're going to be talking about two creepy women.
Very creepy.
Yeah. It's actually going to be, this is going to be part one of a two-part series.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to stay tuned for the next episode to get the last girl that we're going to talk about. Their names are Kuchisake-onna and Teka.
Yeah.
Teka is a weird one.
Yeah.
Can't wait to get to that episode. But initially we were going to do both of them within one episode.
Right.
But there was so much information
Might as well split it up.
on them. We figured, well, that's actually two episodes. Instead of doing a really long one, we'll do two episodes. So like I said, stay tuned for part two. This will be part one, and we'll be talking about Kuchisake-onna.
Yeah. I even got a little excited when you said Teka's name because of why they call her
Just
that.
what
I
we know.
wanted to start talking about it, but I was like, well, we got to wait.
Exactly. So before we get into it, how was your week?
It was good. The weather's been weird here.
Yeah.
90 something one day and then 60 degrees, cold and raining the next day.
Pouring rain. Yeah, we've gotten a lot of water out here recently. So it's been kind of nice though, because it did cool it down.
It did.
I don't like it when it hits that 90-degree weather.
And we're not getting as much water as some places are, so I'm okay with that.
No.
All those floods that are happening.
Unbelievable the way the world is turning on us. Anyway, let's get into Kuchisake-onna.
Yeah.
Kuchisake-onna, also known as the Slit Mouthed Woman. And one of the reasons she's known as that is because the name Kuchisake-onna literally translates to that. So kucha is mouth, sake means to slit, split, etc. And onna means woman. So she is quite literally the mouth slitted woman.
Horrifying.
which is terrifying in and of itself.
Yeah.
Because as we get into the description, you got to figure if you ran into this kind of a thing, I don't think you could sleep.
No.
Well, you're not going to, because you're going to be dead.
You'll be dead, yeah, exactly.
But she is known to be this malevolent ghost or spirit in the Japanese urban legends. She's described as being a very tall woman, often said to be like towering, like upwards to 6 to 8 feet tall.
Which is huge.
And especially in the Japanese culture.
And for a woman in the Japanese culture.
So women are usually 5 foot to, 5'5"
right.
in that culture. And so imagine her being an 8-footer.
Yeah, she's a giant.
Yeah. Now, I don't know how many stories actually have her at 8 foot. She's supposed to be like this gorgeous woman, and I wouldn't think that you would look at an 8 foot tall creature in the dark and just automatically jump to, oh, she's beautiful.
Yeah. No,
So
you'd be horrified.
Just at the height alone. It's bad enough coming across a WNBA player who's like 6'5" or something.
Yeah.
But imagine an 8 foot tall one.
Right.
I don't know how accurate that is, but that's what she's reported as being, is anywhere between 6, 8 feet tall. She has long, straight, black hair that a lot of times they'll say kind of covers her face.
Which I just think of The Grudge.
Yeah, exactly. Grudge, The Ring.
The Ring, The Ring is what I meant.
Yeah. Yeah, I picture that. But in this particular case, I don't think her hair is that greasy, oily, stringy stuff. I think she's supposed to be like well manicured, beautiful kind of thing. Her skin tone, very pale. Often they'll say like her hands and stuff are like white. And so I kind of picture the geisha girl.
Right.
So that's not necessarily pale skin as much as it is makeup, but you know how they like to have that like porcelain white look to them.
Right. They would even like blacken their teeth to make their face look whiter because it was a thing of beauty for them.
So I think that this is kind of what it's getting at when it says that her skin tone is quite pale. I think she's very like white complected. She's mostly seen in either like a trench coat or a long red coat or dress. Sometimes it's been described as almost like flowing around her, like it's got a life of its own.
Yeah.
Like it's more like an apparition.
Just adds to the horror.
Yes, that kind of has that slow motion, winded effect
Right.
where it's just kind of gaping around her and stuff. Other people have said, no, she's in a traditional kimono. So picking your legend or lore that you like, she could be in any one of those things. Now, this is where she gets creepy. Her mouth is like grotesquely slit at the corners of her mouth. And it spans from ear to ear, which exposes her teeth, her muscle structure, her gums. And it makes this like gaping, bloody hole in her face. I've heard this referred to as the Glasgow smile. I didn't know what that was. But, like in, let's put it this way. Take a villain like the Joker in Batman.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking of.
Where he uses makeup to get that grin from ear to ear.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, back in the day, probably the 40s, 50s or something like that, in Scotland, these gangs, mobsters, that was one of the things that they would do to like their victims. They would cut them from ear to ear across their mouth, exposing the whole interior of the mouth. So it got nicknamed the Glasgow smile because these gangsters were torturing people that wronged them or owed them money or whatever the case.
Permanent reminder kind of thing.
Permanent reminder, where they're going to disfigure their face and they're going to have this gaping smile,
right?
For lack of a better term. And so that's what it means when she's referred to as having a Glasgow smile. Now, she predates, obviously, the 1940s and whatnot.
Right.
In some legends, and in others, she doesn't come around until the 1970s. So it's kind of hard to say because as we talk about different cryptids and different spiritual beings and whatnot, there's always a different opinion of when something occurred. And as we get into this, you'll see that some people say this goes way back, 8th century kind of stuff. Others say no, it didn't even begin until 1979. So I guess you get to just choose,
whatever
pick
legend
and choose
you like,
whichever one you want to go with. But
I always like the fact that they've been along terrorizing people for longer. It sounds kind of sick to say, but it just kind of brings more validity to it because you got more sightings, more stories,
right,
more lore to go with it.
And kind of as we get into this a little bit, I mean, we don't get into depth on it by any means, but one of the lores might not even be technically associated with Kuchisake-onna, but over time it became one.
Right.
Which we've had those before.
Yeah.
Where we've talked about, I think it was Krampus. That Krampus started out a little bit different than what he became. And then remember, he was supposed to be like the son of Frau Perchta.
Right, yeah.
Because the different lores blended over hundreds of years. And then they kind of became unified as being the same basic lore.
Right.
When in the beginning, they were actually separate things. And this follows the same pattern.
Right.
We're going to get into a little bit of a story about one that maybe technically predates Kuchisake, but nowadays it's seen as one and the same.
It's all one and the same, yeah.
So she will typically wear a scarf, a handkerchief, or a surgical mask to conceal that grossly mutilated mouth, or she may just cover it up with the use of the traditional Japanese folding fan.
Right.
Ones that they always, they span out, and fan themselves. A lot of times she will just put that up over her face so that she's looking out over the fan and you see her and you think, oh my, what a beautiful woman,
And then she lowers it.
Then she lowers the fan and you're like, oh no. Aside from her disfigurement, she is known to be a very beautiful woman. Now, she's most likely going to be in possession of a sharp instrument or a weapon such as like scissors. And they're not talking about your basic set of scissors that you would cut material with in your house or whatnot. These are like long surgical type shears, very sharp.
Yeah, almost like a dagger.
Yeah. But capable of cutting flesh like butter, razor blade, sharp. She's also been known to carry like a machete or a scythe or a knife or any sharp instrument where she can inflict injury on you. And it's also believed that she has supernatural speed. So if you encounter her and you decide, I'm going to run from her, it's futile.
Right.
She's going to get you.
So I just picture you turning down that alley at night for your shortcut home. You see this 8-foot tall, like, I'm going to go the other way. And then, you back up a couple steps. And then as soon as you turn around, boom.
Yeah, she's
right
on
there.
You.
Yeah.
She's on you.
With that mask pulled down and her big goofy smile.
Yeah. It's, actually, when you look at the pictures of her or the depictions of her, it's horrifying.
Right.
If you were to really, let's put it this way, and I mean no disrespect by this, but it is startling when you come across people that have, however you want to put it, like just the misfortune of either being a birth defect or a serious injury.
Sure.
When someone's had their eye ripped out or something and it couldn't be replaced, so they have to live with it. But, you walk into a store or something and they turn around, can I help you? And they look like Quasimodo or something. Your initial reaction is you're startled, horrified.
Right.
And you kind of want to just turn and run. But human compassion says, oh my God, this person went through something very traumatic.
Right.
And so, your heartstrings get pulled and you don't say like, oh my God, what happened to you? Like a lot, but some people do,
yeah.
That have zero filter.
It's like little kids.
Yeah.
Get a toddler that sees something
exactly.
and they just start pointing and they're like, what's wrong with them? And
what
you're like,
is
hey,
that?
Come on, let's keep moving.
Yeah. And so in this particular case, like you said, you're walking down an alley. She comes around the corner. She walks up to you. We're going to get into what she's going to do. But at some point, she reveals that grotesque disfiguring of her face. I can't even imagine what your initial reaction would be, because she's then kind of evil. And it still looks like it's bloody or bleeding.
Right.
So it looks like a fresh wound. It's not like it's a scarred over wound where you'd go, oh gosh, what happened to her?
Yeah.
This is like, this just happened to her, is the look that she's got. And so I can only imagine how startling it would be.
Oh, it'd be horrifying.
Yeah. And so as we get into the story, people absolutely feared her.
Rightfully so.
Terrified that they might have an encounter with her. And yeah, I get it, man. I wouldn't want to come across her. So getting into the location of where Kuchisake-onna may or may not be. This was a tough one because she's known like widely throughout Japan, but she's not really tied to any one city or region in Japan. She's kind of like all over the place.
Right.
Which makes total sense, right? She's a spirit or a ghost or a apparition or whatever you want to refer to her as. So she wouldn't really need to be stuck to one area. She can kind of float around.
More or less, do whatever she wants.
Travel where she wants to go. But what I did find is that she generally appears on poorly lit streets, in alleyways, and areas near schools. And so I kind of tried to look into why schools so much. And I guess it was because, well, there's several rumors out there that some of the Japanese people, I think they have these things called cram schools. Like the rich kids got to go to these different schools where they crammed them full of knowledge kind of thing, but the lower echelon wasn't capable of going and they couldn't afford them. And so there was some legend and lore that people that could not afford to put their kids in those types of schools came up with this as being a deterrent, like to scare the children that were at those schools, that she hung around school grounds to pick off kids, as they were walking home alone. Because she very rarely, I haven't even seen one case, very rarely hits like multiples of people. Like she's not going to appear to a group of 5 people walking through an alleyway. She's waiting
to single you out.
She's waiting for the one lone person that she can accost.
Yeah.
And so that was one explanation as to why schools. Other people say, no, children are just an easy target. She likes to haunt and hunt people because she's a vengeful spirit. And kids are easier to pick off. So whatever you want to think or believe or whatever sounds reasonable, there was no really good explanation as to why she preferred places near school grounds, but those are the few things that I found. She typically will show up at dusk or nightfall, and in most cases, it's nightfall. She likes the cover of darkness.
Which makes sense.
She loves to hide, like I said earlier, on dimly lit streets and in alleyways and stuff where you can't kind of tell what she is till you get up to her or until she approaches you. So she kind of uses the cover of darkness in order to approach you, not undetected, but you can't see.
Right. If it's broad daylight, you see that mouth.
You see the mask with the blood all over it, and whatnot. So in the darkness, you're not going to notice that stuff until she gets up on you. So while the legend starts in Japan, stories of her quickly spreads to other countries like South Korea, and there she's known as the Red Mask Woman, which is the surgical mask that she wears that's bloodied.
Right. Yeah.
So it becomes this red mask. And she's also well known in China and Taiwan. I did notice, as with a lot of Native American folklore, they come up with these things in order to teach lessons. Like, don't take unnecessarily from the forest.
Right.
Only take what you need. But if you do, then, here comes Wampus Cat or a Wendigo or whatever spirit is going to come because you were greedy.
Yeah.
And so they tell their children these stories to frighten them.
Which makes sense. You're a bad kid. This lady's going to chop you up in an alley on your way home.
Same as Krampus.
Right.
If you're a bad kid, not only are you not going to get anything in your stocking, you're going to be beaten or kidnapped and taken to the bowels of hell, in a wicker basket. And so a lot of these lures were made to keep people in line. And in this particular case, it had to do kind of with jealousy and violence and different things of that nature, where if you're a violent person and you betray your friends and you do horrible things, or you're a jealous person or something, her apparition or her presence is kind of a link between the violence that she incurred, the jealousy that was involved, etc. And so it kind of serves as a reminder to people that you shouldn't be like that, or you may become like a Kuchisake-onna.
Right.
Something of that nature. And so very much like other lores, there was a purpose for this. But then I can't help but believe that because there were so many sightings, that it's more than just a story.
That's the thing.
That maybe it actually is something. And while I know people are going to go, here they go. I just don't believe that you can have that many sightings of just a story, right? I mean,
exactly.
Somebody saw something
at one point
to make the story up to begin with. I mean, panic swept this nation. So we'll get into that just a little tiny bit later. There had to be something.
Exactly.
More than, somebody told a story and mass hysteria broke out.
Based on a story.
I don't see that happening, but maybe it did. I don't know. But anyway, let's kind of get into the origin of Kuchisake-onna. And as you see in almost every lore, there are multiple variations. So we're just going to go over a few of them here. Some people believe that Kuchisake-onna's origin started during Japan's Heian period, which was like the 8th century, 794 through 1185, or possibly during the Edo period, which was 17th century, 1603 through 1868. And legends of vengeful spirits, such as Kuchisake-onna, or, similar to her, because there's multiple others in the Japanese legends, they reflected societal anxiety around infidelities, domestic violence, betrayal, things of that nature. And so, again, they kind of came up with these different spirits that they thought had some relationship with bad traits. So their stories served as like morality tales and warnings about the repercussions of violence and jealousy. And though there were no like specific documents or writings, to say for certain if the legend of Kuchisake-onna actually started during that era. We do know that modern day origins began in 1978, like late 1978. I think it was December of 78 when the first mention of her was out there, but it became well documented during the summer of 1979 by newspapers, magazines, and whatnot, causing this widespread panic in Japan. I think the first one was actually in January of 1979. They wrote an article about it, and it kind of took off from there. But then it got worse and worse, as other people started covering the same story. But the origin is this. Kuchisake-onna was once this beautiful woman who was unnamed, as in almost all lores, right? They never have a name where you can go back and confirm it.
Right.
Which gives you the impression that it's not real, didn't happen, because there's no way to confirm details.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
So,
campfire story at that point.
Campfire story, yeah. I mean, if you can't give specific dates, times, and a name of the real person that became this, then it's likely that it's just a made-up story. But maybe it's not. Who knows?
Maybe it's not.
So, Kuchisake-onna, being this beautiful woman, she just might have known all too well how beautiful she actually was. Little vanity got in the way. And it's said that she was married to a samurai. And of course, this guy's often away from home, fighting battles. And as these feelings of loneliness begins to consume her, she would walk around the town just asking random men, "Do you think I'm beautiful?" Well, her husband, when he's home, he kind of notices her vain and flirtatious behavior, and he didn't like it. But he doesn't do anything at that time other than tell her, hey, you gotta knock it off.
Right.
You're getting ridiculous. Well, her behavior escalates into her having multiple affairs with the men in town. And of course, when the samurai hears the rumors of this, he just becomes outraged. And as a punishment for her infidelity, he grabs that samurai sword or a knife or whatever instrument he's using, and he slices the corners of her mouth from ear to ear. As she's like screaming in agony from her mouth being slit open like that, it only worsened and the wound started ripping. As she's opening her mouth to scream, the flesh is tearing further towards her ears. But now instead of a nice clean cut that could be maybe sutured, closed or whatnot, it's this jagged wound. I don't know how to put it other than you can just picture like pulling flesh apart, is tearing it into
this mangled mess,
massive hamburger, on her face. And after he does this, and she's screaming and writhing in pain and bleeding out, he looks at her and he says, "Do you think you're beautiful now?" Well,
brutal.
It's brutal. But maybe she shouldn't have been cheating on a samurai.
Those guys were hardcore.
They were hardcore. Now, some people believed that Kuchisake-onna actually bled out and died from the injury, but others say that she was so distraught over her now hideous face that she actually committed suicide. Either way, doesn't really matter. The legend still has it that she died, whether it was suicidal or homicidal.
Right.
And she was unable to pass into the realm of the afterlife. So instead, she returns as this vengeful spirit, and in Japan they're known as Onryōs. And an Onryō is a ghost of a person who died with such strong jealousy, rage, or hatred that their soul is unable to pass on. And as a result, they transform into this powerful, wrathful spirit who seeks vengeance on everything and everyone they encounter. Onryōs were generally victims of war, catastrophe, betrayal, murder, suicide, such as Kuchisake-onna, and they display the wounds or the marks that were indicative of the way they died. And so you can see how, obviously, that legend was born. They believe wholeheartedly. There's another term for these Onryōs. It's like yukai or something like I don't exactly remember, but that was a specific form of it. The Onryō is like any ghost or spirit that comes back showing its wounds and how it died because there was something traumatic about it that just wouldn't let them pass on, go to heaven, go to hell, wherever they're going. They don't get there because they're so angry about what happened to them that their eternal life now is just vengeance. Now, it's also believed that the Onryō, unlike a traditional ghost, actually has the ability to injure or kill mortal beings, as well as cause natural disasters like earthquakes, fires, floods, etc. So if you think about like your traditional ghost movies and whatnot, where, you know, they see an apparition, or I mean, even these like ghost hunter shows.
Yeah.
They walk in, they always get themselves worked up, right?
Yeah.
Whether there's anything there or not. They walk into some dark, creepy, old, abandoned insane asylum or something, and then they obviously start hearing sounds. They see things. They feel cold. Their little meters are always going off. You know? But nobody is ever like technically injured. So most ghost stories, I have seen some where people claim they had a scratch on them or something. But in general, most ghost stories don't do that. You see the apparition as it walks across the hallway. You hear chains rattling, you hear moaning, but nobody's really attacked by him.
Right.
Well, in the Japanese legend, the Onryō has the ability to kill you, literally.
Yeah.
Rip you to shreds.
And then set your house on fire.
Torch you, set your house on fire, or cause floods or earthquakes to cause more catastrophic events for multiple people. And so the Onryō was actually that was a horrifying presence. It's not something you'd ever want to come across. A lot of people are like, oh, it wouldn't bother me if I saw a ghost. But if you saw an Onryō in Japanese culture, it's likely you're not going to survive the incident.
You're going to die, yeah.
You're going to die. It doesn't like you. Its sole purpose is mayhem, vengeance, and death. So you don't want to come across one of these.
No, absolutely not.
So the legend states that Kuchisake-onna will mostly appear during the evening or the nighttime hours. She approaches lone people, usually on dimly lit streets, in an alleyway, near schoolyards, and she walks up to them and she asks this potential victim if they think she's attractive, often phrasing it as watashi keri, and that translates to, am I pretty or am I beautiful? Now, if the person answers no, she immediately stabs them with her scissors or her knife, killing them where they stand. Some lures, she may not do it right there on the spot, but she will follow them home in the shadows, and when they go to sleep, she kills them in their sleep.
And I just picture that with that combined with the supernatural speed that she has.
Yes.
The second you say no,
bam,
30 stab wounds.
Yeah.
Right to the stomach, and you're done.
You're toast. Yeah. She's not there to ask you for fun.
No.
She's going to kill you. And so as we go on here, you'll see there's really no right answer. Let's say she asks you, do you think I'm pretty? And you say yes, because she is pretty. She's this tall, beautiful, pale-skinned, flowing dress, fan over her face, beautiful, large, dark eyes looking at you, and you can kind of see the beauty in her. It's kind of like during COVID, you know, people wearing masks all the time. You only got to know them by their eyes, right?
Yeah.
Then they pull the mask down. It's like, Jesus, what's wrong with your teeth? Or, you know, my God, you're hideous. Or they pull it down and they're beautiful. But in this particular case, people that thought that she was in fact beautiful, they would say, yes, you're extremely beautiful. At that point, she then reveals her mutilated mouth. And she either repeats her question, you still think I'm beautiful?
Yeah.
Or she would say, kore demo, which then translate to even with this or even now. If the person responds with no or screams or winces in fright, again, she will kill the person with whatever weapon she has.
Which would be the response.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, you see this gaping wound on her
With
face.
blood coming out of it.
Blood coming out. You see the tendons and the ligaments and the...
Yeah.
I mean, come on, that's horrifying. I don't care. And so you would still wince. Now, let's say you had enough compassion that you could hold yourself together and not scream or say no. You're still going to be like drawn back.
Right.
And so like a horse senses fear, she also knows that you didn't think she was pretty at all. And you're a liar if you say yes. So she can take you out right then and there.
You're done for.
So if you thought she was beautiful, she kills you. If you didn't think she was beautiful, she kills you. There's kind of no way around this, right? But let's say you did have some composure. Oh, let's say that you realize this is Kuchisake-onna. You know the legend. And so you not only try and maintain your composure, but you tell her, yes, you're still beautiful. Well, you would think that would appease her.
Yeah. Nope.
Not Kuchisake-onna. She'll now pull out those scissors or the scythe, and she'll slice the corners of your mouth from ear to ear so that you resemble her disfigurement. So she feels better about herself. And if you thought it was beautiful, you can have this too.
Yeah, there it is. It's a gift.
It's a gift. It's a gift from the Onryō. Now, that's just horrifying, right?
Oh, yeah.
So you say yes to her, then she's just going to follow up with another question, and then she's going to either slash her face open or kill you, depending on if it's no or yes on the second question. If it's no on the first question, she just kills you right there. Anyway.
You're done.
So you're dead or disfigured, one way or the other, if you have an encounter with her.
Yep.
Now, there's a couple variations to the legend, one being that she was attacked and mutilated by a jealous woman instead of the samurai. Some local woman was jealous of her beauty, so she slashed her face, which, that's happened in real life.
Yeah.
And that particular lore often depicts her as her sister. I've read a few other things. We're not going to get into all of it, but that she had other sisters. They all went and had plastic surgery. It went awry. I mean, there's all kinds of different ways to get to this Kuchisake-onna. I think the most widely accepted was the fact she was married to this samurai. That's one of the bigger lores. But just so everybody understands, there's also the fact that she's brutally attacked by another person, or that she went in for plastic surgery or a dental procedure that went horribly wrong and left her disfigured. Whatever origin story you want to believe, the outcome is still the same. She walks away from this event as an Onryō, or a vengeful spirit that is going to wreak havoc on the world. So when you think about the story, there's kind of like no getting away from this lady.
No.
We're going to get into like surviving an encounter with her if you do. But for now, let's kind of go over some sightings or encounters. Now, there were not a lot. No. And so what you're going to go over here has no specific like dates and times and things of that nature. But they are, in fact, stories that came about that people have told with their encounters.
Right.
So if you want to jump into that, let's do it.
So there was a boy named Chance who encountered her while he was on a shortcut through the woods. When he saw her, he grabbed his crucifix and chanted what's called the Devil's Curse, which is, quote, "I banish you to the shadow of death. I corrupt you to the netherworld, from which no one has come from. Into the dirt no being should ever cross." End quote. And
so clearly he knew the legend.
Yep, he was ready.
He saw her. She's coming towards him. She's got that face covered. He wasn't taken off guard, so he never got the questions asked of him because he already knew what it was.
He immediately went to it.
And so this is Japanese culture, and so I don't know, this kid probably wasn't like Christian where he's praying to God about it, so he's chanting what he thought would be something that would repel her.
Right, yeah. And just like you said, he thought that this would make her simply run away. But he claims that demonic hands came from the dirt and pulled her down into the earth. And as she sank, she said, quote, "I will be back and I will tear you to pieces." End quote.
That's horrifying.
That would be horrifying.
Yeah.
That's way more horrifying than just seeing her.
Yeah, I agree. Now, he didn't die and he didn't get his face slashed.
Yeah.
So whatever happened worked. But now this takes us into a new realm.
Right.
And this is where our audience says, here they go again.
Yep.
But could Onryōs in the Japanese culture actually be demonic forces?
It could be.
Again, I've said it in multiple episodes that I don't really believe in ghosts. I don't believe that when you die, you walk the earth aimlessly for retribution or for feel-good things, where you're like the movie Ghost, where he's hugging
doing
her,
the clay thing with her, or pottery, whatever it is.
Yes, and the lovely song is playing and she's dancing and feels the warmth. That's not reality.
Right.
I know a lot of people believe it, and maybe I'm not 100% wrong, so I'll go out there and say that too. But I believe, like scripturally, that you die and you either go to a holding place or you go to heaven or hell or however you want to believe that end of it. But I just don't believe that your spirit just roams the earth.
Right.
But demons do.
Yes, they do.
And so could an Onryō actually be a demonic force that terrifies people?
Toys with you, yeah.
That's what I think this would be. I mean, there's no debunking section in this episode because how do you debunk a legend?
Right. You don't.
You either say, yeah, it's not real, or you say, oh, it's real. But there's no evidence to support either direction.
Yeah.
So we're not going to try and debunk this. I'm just going to say that if it's real, if she exists, she has to be a demon.
Yeah, because why would a cross get rid of her if she was just
a ghost,
a spirit?
Yeah,
a vengeful spirit.
Right. And why would demon hands come up from the ground and drag her away?
Right.
See, I don't know. I'm just saying that opens the mind to the fact that maybe it is real.
And it's a demon.
So anyway, I just thought I'd throw that out there. And of course, our audience is like, well, of course you did.
Yeah, of course you guys thought that. You guys think everybody.
So anyway, moving on to the next one.
Yeah. So another one states that a guy by the name of John was walking home one day and when he saw her. So he tried to run away. And as a result, she snapped his neck.
Well, you can't run.
You can't run because she's got supernatural speed. Yeah. So even if she doesn't, according to this story, even if she doesn't come up to ask the question, but you have encountered her by seeing her
and try and escape,
you're done for.
She kills you.
But John didn't die right away and was found and rushed to the hospital. However, the damage was too great, and right before he died, he said her name to the hospital staff.
And who would do that?
Right, exactly.
I mean, let's say you and I were out hunting. You accidentally shot me.
Right.
And I'm dying.
Yeah.
So instead of saying, hey, Jake accidentally shot me, I'm going to yell out, Kuchisake-onna.
Yeah.
And maybe I will now.
You never know. Just to mess with people.
Yeah. In fact, I almost can't wait till I'm on my deathbed so I can yell, Kuchisake-onna. Somebody will look it up and go, oh, my Lord, he had an encounter.
There was this, I don't even remember the name of it. There was a stupid stand-up I was listening to one time. And the guy said one of the ways he wants to go out is he wants to run into a crowd of people and say, seriously, who farted, and then shoot himself. So that way there's at least a couple guys in the crowd going, no, but who was it that farted that made him kill himself?
Right. Yeah. And how bad could that fart actually be that you take your own life?
And now that's what you have to do with some kind of ghost or spirit or something.
Exactly. I love it.
So moving on, a young teenage girl by the name of Ayumi from Osaka was walking home alone, and it was around midnight. And she was walking down a dimly lit street, and as she rounded the corner, she saw a figure off in the distance. It was a woman wearing a mask over her face and wearing a long, flowing red dress, and she was standing still. Now, Ayumi had a deep sense of fear, but asked, quote, "Are you lost, miss?" End quote. The woman slowly turned around, and Ayumi saw that she had a fan in her hand that was held up in front of her face. Her eyes were large and dark, and Ayumi thought she was hiding her beauty behind the fan. But, of course, she was wrong.
Hiding a grossly disfigured face.
Now, as the woman approached her, she asked, "Do you think I'm pretty?" Now, Ayumi told her she thought she was very pretty. The woman then lowered the mask, revealing a horrifying sight. Her mouth had been slit from ear to ear, exposing her teeth, gums, ligaments, and muscles. Now Ayumi turned to run, but the woman grabbed her arm and asked, "Do you think I'm pretty now?" Ayumi said, "Yes, you are pretty."
So that was pretty smart on her part.
Yes.
So not knowing the legend, I think that would be the appropriate response, right?
Just to panic, just to appease the person who's trying to get you, hey, yes, you are pretty, can please let me go kind of thing.
Right.
Because if you say no, you might anger them.
Right.
You don't know what they are.
Even if you don't know that you're going to be stabbed with a pair of scissors or chopped in half with a scythe, it still, I think, would be the appropriate response if you're terrified.
Yeah.
Just say yes, and maybe she'll let me go.
Yeah. It's just like, that's what they tell you if you're going to if someone's mugging you.
Yeah.
You don't argue with them. Don't fight. Just give them the wallet, give them your phone, give them your watch.
Right.
It's better than losing your life.
Trying to appease.
Yep. Just to get them away from you.
Sure.
So makes sense. The woman released the grip on her arm and slowly backed away. Now, Yumi was so terrified, she tried to convince herself that what she had seen was not real, which...
Who wouldn't?
Exactly. You start trying to rationalize it. Maybe it was dark and I didn't see what was going on.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd be calling you instantly.
Oh, the second
I found her
that you walked away from that instant. Yeah, you'd have to.
So Ayumi ran home and went to bed, but the terror she experienced was not over. She awoke to find the woman floating over her. Her screams pierced the night, and her parents ran to her room to see what had happened, but it was too late. They found Ayumi dead, laying in a pool of blood, wearing a slit-mouthed smile.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's horrifying. So she does kill two of these people. The only kid that gets away uses a crucifix and chants some ridiculous quote.
Yeah,
but nonetheless, it worked for him. So she's dragged away by other demonic forces. The other two try and get away, and they're killed.
Yep.
Yeah. So kind of terrifying stuff.
Yeah.
Now I know, all of our listeners are going to go, okay, you guys are nuts because those three stories are obviously nothing but stories. We're just relating, obviously, the stories that are told regarding Kuchisake-onna. Whether you want to believe they're real or not is immaterial.
Right.
This is entertainment, right?
Yeah, exactly.
They're fun stories, and they're fun stories to tell. I don't think that if you were to try and look up, of course, you don't see a last name, you don't see a date, you don't know when. So you could never confirm that Ayumi is dead because we don't know who she is.
You can't even confirm that she exists.
Or when it happened. Yeah.
Right.
And so are these stories that were related over time and they did happen, but the facts and details are gone? Or is it completely just made up stuff?
Right.
Don't know.
There's no way to know.
And there's no way we'll ever know.
But we're still going to tell them.
We're still telling the story because that's what this podcast is all about.
So next one is probably the most infamous sighting. It involved a woman who was attempting to abduct a girl. Now the girl managed to run away, and the woman gave chase before being struck and killed by a speeding car. The coroner's report noted her mouth had been split ear to ear, but they couldn't tell if this injury was a result of the car or one that she had had prior.
Right. Now this one sparked a lot of panic at the time, because this incident supposedly actually occurred, and it was near a school ground, and it was an attempted abduction. So when this little girl gets away and that lady gets hit by the car, the reason this created so much fear and panic was because they couldn't say for sure if that wound on her face was caused by the accident, right? So everybody's thinking it was Kuchisake-onna.
Yeah.
And that existed prior to her getting hit by a car. Now, if she's a spirit, I wouldn't think that the car would kill her.
Right.
So I don't really understand the panic behind it. But this did spark a lot of panic.
Absolutely.
In the area. So,
because you got, either way, you got someone who's trying to abduct children.
Yeah. Now that's what they should be legitimately scared about. But at the same time, now this woman's dead. So the threat has subsided.
Right.
Don't have to worry about your kid getting abducted by this woman because she's laying on a slab at the morgue. So, oh goodness.
Now, while there are no detailed sightings and encounters, as there often are not with urban legends, mass hysteria plagued Japan in 1979. Now, the legend was first reported in the Gifu Prefecture newspaper, Gifu Nichi Nichi Shinbun. on January 26th, 1979. Now, this story of Kuchisake-onna started a whirlwind of fear and panic. On March 23rd, 1979, the weekly publication Shukan Asahi published a story about an old farmer woman in Gifu Prefecture that went to her outhouse one day and bumped into the Kuchisake-onna. She was so frightened that she fell down because her knees buckled, obviously just out of sheer fear.
Massive fear.
And all the strength had drained from her back, which could be just people have a fight or flight. She froze and fell down from fear. Now, there was no further information as to what happened to the woman. More on Kuchisake-onna was published in the weekly news magazine Shukan Shincho on April 5th, 1979. Now, shortly after the publications, a 25-year-old woman in Himeji City in Hyogo Prefecture was arrested for dressing up like Kuchisake-onna and wandering around the streets with a knife.
Yeah, see, what an idiot.
Yeah.
This is going back to some of our other episodes where we talked about people dressing up as Bigfoot and trying to scare people.
And then getting clipped by a car on the freeway. Yeah.
Right. Getting killed or shot at or whatever. Yeah. It's like, don't try and instill fear in people, because fight or flight is a real thing.
Yeah.
Most people probably going to run from you when they see you dressed up as Kuchisake-onna and you're wielding a knife.
But there are going to be people.
But when you come across the off-duty police officer who's armed, and says she had a knife, my life was in danger. I was
with my kids.
Fear for my life. I popped her.
Yeah.
Which I would.
Meanwhile, it's some 19-year-old trying to do a TikTok.
Right. And you know what? We talked about that in an episode with the whole clown thing. Remember back in the day?
Oh, yeah.
Stupid people running around with an axe. And
well, you notice those things only happened in certain cities. Yeah. We don't need to get into that, but
right, yeah.
Those weren't happening in Wyoming and Idaho
areas.
Yeah, exactly. Because I would hope that some people are smart enough to know that if I'm out walking with my kid, I'm not going to get in a fist fight with you.
No.
And the off chance that you get a lucky punch and knock me out, I got to worry about my family.
Right.
You're going to get popped. Especially some of these clowns were dressed up with knives.
Yeah, and they were carrying sledgehammers or machetes or whatever.
Smacking the ground thinking it's funny.
Yeah, dragging that knife edge along the wall or something, No.
Till you get 4 rounds of 9mm in your chest and it's not so funny anymore.
This girl was the same.
Yep.
See, she's purposely dressing up to instill fear in people and keep this legend alive. I'm really surprised somebody didn't kill her.
Right. So another incident was a woman who lived in a mental hospital in Ogagishi City in Gifu Prefecture, would cover her mouth in red lipstick and sneak out every night to hang out at the entrance of a tunnel to frighten people in the area. Now,
so the mentally ill are even getting in on this one. And you kind of gotta love that one.
You gotta love that one.
But I'm surprised this woman wasn't killed either.
Right.
I mean, when you do this kind of stuff, you're going to get a reaction.
You're asking for trouble.
You are asking. I mean, even just if some guy walked up and punched her in the face as hard as he could.
Right.
But I don't know. These people are nuts that go out and do this kind of stuff. But at the same time, I get a good laugh out of it because their mindset was just to go out and terrorize.
Right.
Which is kind of fun in a way. I mean, it's what Halloween's all about.
I love a good scare.
And in Japan, I was reading a thing, just like Germany, remember, where they dress up as demonic entities to terrify the children? They have the same kind of like festival in Japan where they dress up as Onryōs and ghosts and demonic forces, and they dance around in the streets to terrify children. And so culturally, it's like no different if you dressed up as Kuchisake-onna, carried a knife and walked around town. You're just out there having fun. But it could also end your life.
Yeah, I just think there's a big difference in like a festival where it's known this is what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Or, you're on downtown San Francisco or whatever, you're walking the pier and you got the guy who's painted silver sitting on the bench.
Right.
And someone goes to sit next to him and he scares him and it's all, it's funny.
Or he's a bush or whatever.
Yeah. But he's not walking at you, tapping a sledgehammer on the ground or holding a knife up.
Right.
That's two totally different things.
Yeah, that's a double tap there.
And you're done for, So rumors about the Kuchisake-onna spread rampantly, of course, which led to heightened police presence and young children having to be accompanied by members of the Parent-Teacher Association while walking home from school. because people didn't want to be out walking alone.
Yeah. And I heard that there were certain regions that even shut the schools down.
Yeah.
So we're not talking about, when people are listening to our story here and how we're presenting it, we're literally talking about mass hysteria.
Yep.
Not, there were a few people frightened, or, look, the mentally ill dressed up like the Joker or something and went out and terrified people. We're talking about people lived in fear to the point where police presence had to be heightened.
To stop widespread panic.
Right.
Yeah.
Kids had to be walked home from school.
Right.
Everybody was terrified. Nobody went out at night alone. You certainly wouldn't take an alleyway. And when people are that scared, then they clearly believe it's real.
Right.
Otherwise, you'd just go, oh, how ridiculous. And you'd go on your merry way.
Right. Exactly.
That didn't happen.
No.
And so there must be something that caused that kind of real fear.
Exactly. Yep.
Now, I haven't come across anything where, there's a confirmation of a dead body or someone cut in half or their face slit or a young girl waking up in a pool of blood,
right.
Or she didn't wake up, but parents found her. Can't wake up, Dad. I'll always go back to that stupid movie.
I love it so much.
But something had to have happened to create that kind of panic.
Right. So what I think is somebody saw this thing and that turned into stories of people actually getting killed.
Yep.
Because I think that if this thing exists, it's demonic. And if that's what it is, it can't break into your house and kill you.
Right.
It could do other things that can instill fear, stress, anxiety, other sins, but it can't
take your life.
It can't take your life.
It doesn't have that type of power.
No.
Now, Japanese culture-wise, it does.
Right.
The Onryō does. But I think our faith tells us
otherwise.
That can't happen.
Yeah.
So let's move into what do you do if you were to actually encounter Kuchisake-onna?
Well, I feel like before you get into it, Chance has it down. You carry a cross around and you quote scripture.
Chance had the right idea.
Yeah. And
he's the only survivor so far in the story.
So he's right.
Yeah. So
which makes us right. There you go. End of story.
There it is. Yep. Podcast done. See you next week. But anyway, some of the things that people have come up with, these are just things that you could try because let's face it, as far as the lore is concerned, if you have an encounter with Kuchisake-onna, the likelihood is it's going to result in your death or mutilation.
Yep.
Period. But some people have tried to figure out ways to get around it based on different cultural beliefs and different lores. And, people piece stuff together and, this might work and that might work. And the bottom line is this, and I'll just leave you with this. If you ever were to encounter Kuchisake-onna, you're probably going to die.
Yeah.
You're probably going to be mutilated no matter what happens. You could try one of these things, but none of these are proven because nobody has ever been able to actually say they survived an encounter with her.
Exactly.
So these are made up things, right? But we're going to go over them in case you ever do come across her. You could try some of these things and maybe survive. So the first one is to confuse her with an ambiguous answer. So when she looks at you and says, "Am I pretty?" Just try saying something like, "You're so-so,
Yeah.
You're all right, you're average." Because it might she's waiting for a yes or no answer so that she can move on with her scheme, right? Say, "Yes, you're pretty," she's going to the next question. Say, "No, you're not," she kills you. But what does she do if you say, you're all right, I guess. You're so-so.
Yeah.
So she gets taken back by that. And the whole point is that it may confuse her just long enough for you to make an escape, run away. She's distracted. She's thinking now, what do I do now?
He didn't say yes or
He
no.
didn't say yes or no.
Yeah.
So what do I do? So that's one thing to do. And I'm going to say that's probably not going to work.
Not if she has supernatural speed.
Yeah.
She'll just think a second, see you running, and then catch up to you.
And catch up to you anyway.
Cut you up for confusing her.
Right. Another concept here is to ask her a question back. So if you're like really quick-witted or something, you can say, well, I don't know. Do you think I'm beautiful? And again, that is only so that it catches her off guard. You're not answering her question. Now you answered her question with a question. So she's going to be thinking, what is this guy talking about?
Yeah.
Gives you time to run. Again, you're going to get caught. You're going to be killed.
Right.
So I don't think that works. This one's kind of funny because apparently for some reason she might be OCD or something.
Yeah, maybe.
Because, and there's no real true good explanation on this. I've seen some people's statements of, why. But they say to distract her with money or hard candies. And so throwing them on the ground, like let's say you got a pocket full of pennies.
Yeah.
Or you happen to have a piece of candy. And it's a specific kind of candy in Japan that's called beko-ame or beko-ame. I'm not sure how it's pronounced precisely, but it is a little candy made out of like caramelized sugar.
Right.
Why she has a passion for this particular candy, because I've read things from people that know this legend fairly well, lived in Japan, that it's this particular candy. Other people say, no, just any kind of hard candy, throw it down on the ground, she'll go for it. Other people are saying, no, it has to be that particular kind of candy. But nobody can explain why. Is this just something that she liked in her prior life that kind of takes her back to her prior life and takes her out of her mindset of vengeance?
Yeah.
That, oh, look, it's like, was it SpongeBob? Oh, piece of candy.
Oh, piece of candy. Oh, it's Family Guy.
Family Guy.
Yeah.
He's walking around picking up those little pieces of candy. But that's apparently what she does. Oh, a piece of candy. And so she goes down to pick the candy up, which gives you a moment to run away. The other concept is if you throw like a handful of pennies on the ground, she has this propensity to want to pick all of them up. Where we get into the OCD clause here, I don't know. I couldn't find it.
Yeah.
But that is a general idea, is that she feels as though she needs to pick them all up. Kind of like the Rougarou where you put the 13 coins out.
Exactly, yeah.
And he can't get past 12, so he loses his mind and leaves. There's no real reason for it. It's just part of the lore. And this is the same. Throw a pocket full of change on the ground with a caramelized sugar candy, and you got a shot at running away because she has to pick them all up and taste the candy and whatnot.
Of course,
before she can run after you. And then maybe you've gotten out of her line of sight and she doesn't know which way to run. I don't know. But that's probably better than just trying to confuse her.
Yeah.
At least it distracts her. And if she has to pick them up, great.
My wife does the same thing to me with pastries and pies and stuff.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
She wants me be quiet and distracted. She just gave me a
put a
coffee cake or
put
something.
Put a little moon pie on the table
like,
or
what's
something.
That?
Oh,
I'll sit down like a little kid and eat.
Right. So a few more of these things, they're kind of stupid ones. But if you yell pomade 3 times, and I thought, what is pomade and how does that relate to her? Well, because in one lore, remember she goes to the surgeon for plastic surgery and it's a botched surgery. Well, apparently that surgeon was wearing this stuff in his hair. It's like this greasy hair wax that, like to slick your hair back and stuff, like a James Dean look and whatnot. And this particular surgeon wore a lot of that in his hair. And so she associates that smell with the trauma. Now, the 3-time thing that we covered in another episode, where that's like similar to like a ritual or an incantation or something. That's demonic in and of itself.
It is.
And it goes on saying you can yell garlic or bald 3 times. I tried looking up why either of those matters. Well, the bald is because, she was a vain, long-haired, her hair was beautiful. And so if she thinks I'm bald, then you're going to distract her. But again, we're getting into the yelling it 3 times thing, which is now you're back into the almost like ritualistic realm of demonism again.
Right.
So I don't know that those would work. Maybe. I don't know.
Or tick her off.
Tick her off.
Oh, you call me bald?
Yeah. Right.
Now she's going to slice you up even more.
So another one is to tell her, hey, I'm running late. Like, so when she says, do you think I'm beautiful? You just kind of push it off like, hey, I'm running late. Don't have time for this.
Yeah.
Some people say she might bow and apologize to you for taking your time and allow you to pass. Well, you know what? If that's the easiest way to do it, then why not do that?
Yeah.
But I don't know that anybody can say that it worked. Right?
Yeah.
So I don't know how they come up with that. She's clearly not polite. She's a vengeful Onryō.
Yeah.
She's there to kill you.
So she's just supposed to go, oh, I didn't know.
Oh, I didn't know.
That's
I'm
my
sorry.
bad. Yeah.
I'm taking up your time. So mush along, little
I would
doggy.
just assume it'd be one of those things that angers her more.
I would think so.
You don't have time to answer my question?
Yeah, I'll just slice your face now and then we'll,
Yeah, then you could answer me.
and then people say, run. So regardless of the strategy that you choose, any one of those things, whether you're yelling pomade, garlic, bald, I don't have time for this crap. Yes, you're beautiful. No, you're not. Whatever you do, as soon as you have her attention diverted, just run as fast as you can. Now, she has supernatural speed, so running probably is going to be futile, but you really don't have any other options at that point. So you might as well try. In South Korea, they believe that if you run in a zigzag pattern, she can't catch you because they believe that spirits move in straight lines. Kind of like the Australians will tell you, if you're being chased by an alligator, run in a zigzag pattern, right? I think that's been debunked, that it doesn't matter if you run in a zigzag pattern. Things still catch up to you.
Yeah.
Alligators are quick. But in South Korea, they think that spirits can only go like straight. So if you run zigzag, she's not going to get you. I wouldn't want to test that either.
No.
Running zigzag actually means you're not getting as far away from her as you could in the appropriate amount of time.
You're just going to die tired.
You're just going to die tired, right? Exactly. And then lastly, the last thing I found on this is that she may not attack you if you have type O blood, because she can smell it, sense it. And I thought, now, why? What could that even possibly be?
Right.
Killing or mutilating you has nothing. She's not looking for a blood transfusion.
She's not a vampire, yeah.
But I found that in the Japanese culture, blood type personality theories, though considered like a pseudo-scientific thing, they're prevalent and can be an influence on social interactions and perceptions of individuals. And so from a relationship standpoint, she might just go up and, sniff you out and go, oh, he's got type O blood. I don't want to associate with this particular person.
Yeah.
There's some social influence there. I don't get that. That's not our culture, and so I don't understand it. But, hey, if it works, it works. Yeah. Now, I'm screwed because I'm type A.
Yeah, just unless you're type O, don't visit Japan.
Don't visit Japan. Yeah. Don't walk down alleys at night.
Yeah. Only go out in the daytime.
Yeah. So those are a bunch of lame ideas on surviving an encounter. But nonetheless, it's what people have come up with.
Yeah.
I don't think any of them would work.
No.
Let's put it this way. If she is demonic in nature, I don't believe that any one of these things is going to work. I also don't believe that she's going to kill you, because demons can't. But if she's not, and there's a spiritual realm that I'm not aware of, and an Onryō is a real thing, then woe is you if you meet this gal.
Yep.
Because I don't think there's any way you're going to get away.
You're toast.
You're just toast. So either be prepared to be great big old smile for all eternity with your face slashed open, or you're dead.
Yep.
Simple as that.
There
So
it is.
you guys have an opinion on that, give us an email and let us know. We did not touch on literally every lore regarding her. There are a couple other instances of how she could have come about, but they just weren't as cool as the particular stories that we chose. So
Right.
Those are the ones we went with. And if you have any other information and want to let us know, great.
Yeah.
Now, when it comes down to popularity, there's no festivals, there's no parades, there's no community events that honor her existence. And why would there be?
Right.
Right? She's a fearsome, frightening creature that they're terrified of. I don't think that's something that you would honor. But there were some good movies made. Now, when I say good, they're Japanese horror films. And so I don't know that they have been, because I didn't have time to actually watch one of these. But I'm going to probably check one out and see how they are. But most Japanese movies that I've seen, I can't take the mismatch of, where it's converted to English,
Right.
but you're watching them talk and then they have some voice that doesn't fit the character anyway.
Yeah.
I hate that.
Yeah, because it doesn't fit like the emotion and
Yeah.
yeah.
It's hard to watch, but if it's potential to watch, I'm going to check them out. One is called Carved, the Slit Mouthed Woman, made in 2007. I looked at the cast on this, and they did pick a quite beautiful woman to play this. And I think they could have done better on her makeup because the slit is not as horrifying as it should be. But nonetheless, they made their attempt at.
Yeah.
She looks more like the Joker or something, just the way it is. And she carries like this big pair of shears that she mutilates people with in the movie. And then they came out with Carved 2, the Scissor Massacre, which you gotta love that.
Gotta love that, yeah.
2008. There's Kuchisake-onna, The Beginning, was made in 2008. That was released at the same time that Carved 2 was out. And it actually kind of is a prequel to the original Carved. So you got kind of a three-way series there. And then Kuchisake-onna returns in 2012. It was just a continuation of the whole lore of Kuchisake-onna. I don't know that it was the same like producer and director of the other three. But nonetheless, they're out there. And there's a lot of podcasts and YouTube videos and documentaries and stuff on her. So there's a lot out there that you can look at if this one piques your interest at all. I think it's pretty cool. So it's a cool lore. She's horrifying. And the end result of an encounter with her is not a good one.
No, not at all.
So anyway, that is all I've got on Kuchisake-onna. Do you have anything else on her?
No, she's horrifying, and I'm excited to get into part 2 on the other gal, Teka. So
right, and so Teka, another Onryō in Japanese culture. We were going to do the two together. Clearly, we've gone over our hour. So stay tuned for 2 weeks from now. Part 2 is going to be on Teka. And when we get into Teka, she's just as creepy as Kuchisake-onna, if not worse.
If not worse, yeah. That's what I was thinking.
Exactly. So if you have any information on Kuchisake-onna that you want to share with us, if you've ever had an encounter with her and actually survived it, send us an email. We'd love to talk to you.
Let us know.
Other than that, you guys have a great day.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for joining us today. If you enjoyed the show and you want to help us out, then go ahead and give us a follow, leave us a review, and don't forget to turn on the automatic download button so you don't miss any upcoming episodes. And as always, if you've had any experiences, stories, thoughts, comments, or questions, we'd love to hear from you. Send us an email to cryptidfanatic@gmail.com. Let us know if you'd like to be on the show or just have your story featured during one of our episodes.